Yeah, kind of looking at my wasteboard here for the alt mill, and you know, I kind of messed up. Kind of did. I put the wasteboard down and permanently attached it. Not really permanently. I did it with screws like everybody does, but what I should have done was I had a thought in my head that, I want to put some threaded inserts in this. I don't like T-tracks. They pull out, and I just have had all kinds of trouble with T-tracks in MDF. And I know there's better ways of installing T-track to keep them from pulling out or whatever, but you know, I did the best I could with what I had to work with, and it didn't always work out. Most of the time, I just didn't even use them. I just screwed right to the wasteboard, or I used the clamp method. I mean, we just pushed things in. I wedged. I did a video on that. Got that from Vern down at the Hinkle shop, his design, and I just kind of adopted that. And it's great that we have other makers that we can pull from, you know what I mean? It's just like, if I do something in this video that you like, man, have at it. Make it bigger and better than what I did. That's my goal. Because it's gonna make the space just grow that much more. And we need that out there. We really do. But anyway, that soapbox is over and I'm moving on. So my afterthought was the threaded inserts, right? Well, let me get out of, open one of these drawers. I'm gonna need this. Okay, so a while back I had got a bunch of threaded inserts off of the CNC.com website, and there'll be a link in the description below for these inserts. And I never used them. I never used them for anything. Things happened and I just never used them. So I said when I got my Altmill I was going to put threaded inserts in, and that's what I want to do. But I realized that I've already attached the wasteboard to the Altmill, and if I were to add these inserts, they technically would be upside down. So if you look at this little cover on top of that, that is actually the bottom of the insert. It should sit like this, and you screw down into it from the top. It helps hold it in the piece, right? Well, now I'm going to put it in like this, and I'm not going to have optimal holding power as a result. It's going to be really good because these things are incredible. The only thing that I'm going to do different, and I saw another maker do it, is take some CA glue and run it on the threads, and that'll keep it from turning out when we loosen something up. And that's the idea. When you flip it over, it can't pull out because it's kind of got this hat on it, and it can't push down because it's on the other wasteboard. So anyway, long story short, I'm gonna make a program in VCarve Pro version 12. I love that program. I'm gonna make a program, and I'm gonna base it on the size of these that I bought from CNC Labs, and I'm just gonna measure them with my micrometer, and I'm gonna place them in here in a pattern, and I'll show you how I did all that in VCarve Pro. Step by step, I'll take you right through it. It's really fast. And then we'll bring the file up here and we'll start punching holes in this wasteboard. So stay tuned.
So what I always start with in my wasteboards is I start with the size of the wasteboard. And that's what I have here, 44 by 47 and a half. That's the entire size of that sheet that I have on top, the very top sheet that I'm going to be putting these holes in. And it's 3/4 of an inch, but I always give it an extra in order to make sure that I'm all the way through in case it's swollen up a little bit or whatever. So what we want to do is we want to use this insert. We want to place it in upside down in the top of the wasteboard, and I want to create the recess for this 1/2 inch diameter here. I've already marked this up. It's a 1/2 inch diameter, and we can use a 3/8 hole for this. I'd probably do that in hardwood, but MDF, I think I'm going to go a little smaller, so I'll probably go like 0.35, something like that. And then we're going to do probably, I would say, about 1/8 of an inch deep for this outer 1/2 inch recess. So I'm going to show you really quick how this is done, and yeah, I guess my intro to it all is going to take longer than actually showing you. But first thing we want to do is we want to create a hole, and I'm going to do the 1/2 inch hole first. So we go to the circle tool, and I'm going to create the hole at 0.5, which is a 1/2 an inch, and I'm going to create that, and it puts it anywhere on this paper, wherever, you know, anywhere, it doesn't matter. So we're going to close that, and I'm going to come down here to the array tool. Now in Carveco it's called block and copy, but this is array. I've already done this. As you can see, I've put the coordinates in for 4 inches, 8 inches, 6, 10. I've already done all that. The rows, the columns, and I want them 4 inches apart, blah, blah, blah. And that won't highlight. You notice that's not even highlighted. When I select the hole, there you go. See? So that's all done because I've done this before, obviously. And you just click copy, and just like that, it happens. Come over here to your align tool and center it on your workspace, which is my actual project size. Now, if you watched any of my videos, I make my actual project size my workspace all the time. All the time. It never fails me. Sometimes I need to do it a little bit different for specific projects, but I very rarely do that. Most oftentimes I make it that size. So there's my recess. Okay, let's go over to the hole again. Now we want to create 0.35, and whoops, we want to make 0.35 as a hole, and we're going to create that. Now there's our hole. You can see that. Oh, just created another one. I'm going to delete that. We're going to close that. I'm going to delete that. Okay, so we'll select that hole. We'll go back down to the array tool, and we want to do the same thing. So we're going to hit copy. We're going to close this, go to the alignment tool and hit align, and your wasteboard is done. Now we can create some toolpaths. So we're going to go over to the toolpath menu. Now in this case, I'm going to use the pocket tool. It's just my preference. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch end mill, and I'm going to go to the full depth, 0.75. I'm not going to go 5.5. I'm just going to go 0.75. And this pocket, I'm just going to leave it as 1, and I'm going to edit the passes. I want to shorten this up because we don't need 8 passes. I'll do 3 passes, and you can see it does a 1/4 inch at a time when it does the circular pass. So I can set the last pass for 0.02, hit apply, and it makes it do that last pass just to kind of clean the hole up. But let me just select this end mill, double click on it, and you can see what the speeds are. We're gonna change this to 18,000 RPMs. I love having the Altmill now. That motor starts up. You can tell it how fast to go. That's so cool. I'm gonna run this at 160 inches a minute, and my plunge rate's gonna be 50. I don't see any reason why I can't do that. And the tool number is 1. Now we can calculate that. Now you can see how it's going to go through the succession. It's going to go all the way around, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now if you want to preview that, fine, but I don't think we need to at this point, so we're going to go back to the 2D view. I'm going to select all the larger holes, come over and do the same thing for the tool path, and I think I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm just gonna do an O2, hit apply, and that'll be done. Pocket number 2, calculate, and just like that, we are gonna be carving, folks. Close, but let's preview, and you can see that I screwed up. You always got to preview before you decide to go do your thing. So I screwed up. I forgot to set the depth. But how do I know that? Well, because it's red all the way through. And because it just dawned on me, I forgot to set it. So, okay, come over here and double click pocket 2. Come back up here and do 0.125. I'm going to do the 1/8 inch. And then just recalculate that, and it should be good. So preview all toolpaths. For some reason this isn't working out like I want it to. So we're going to go back to this. What am I doing wrong here? Start depth is 0, 0.125 depth. Making the pocket, calculate. Okay. Want to reset the preview, that's why. And then preview all toolpaths. There we go. There's your hole, and good to go. Yeehaw. Okay, so what do you say we go get this thing done on the Altmill?
Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to use a 1/4 inch, as I showed you in VCarve Pro. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch flat end mill. I'm going to use a down cut. I'm just going to hit the go to XY 0. And it brings the Altmill right to the front. I'm really liking that. It's a great little button to have. Actually, it was set for the last video that I did. It works really well. So I'm going to use a 1/4 inch. Now what I'm going to do, so that I'm just going to take the dust boot shroud off. I'm going to stick this in there, and then I'm going to tighten this up. Well, that's good enough there. Put my dust boot back on, tighten it down. Now if you've watched my channel, you know that I made this little dust hose bracket that actually holds this in place so that it doesn't whack the motor, doesn't hang over here, doesn't do any of that stuff. So I still got my prototype in there, and I am getting ready to produce a bunch of them. So if you have any interest, just leave it in the comments below, and I'll be happy to put you on the list. So let's do X, Y, and Z. We're gonna set this for auto, and we'll do the probe. Then we've got to Start the probe after connectivity, and we're good. You just gotta kind of hold on it a little bit here. There we go. That's so easy to do. And let's hook up the dust boot. Now, this dust boot goes on so easy. I mean, not for nothing, but CNC Labs did a number on this. This is like the best. And if you combine it with this hose bracket from Bucky's Customs, you're going to be extremely, extremely happy. Tighten that up. I shortened that up a little bit. It will go up and down, no problem. It looks like everything came out okay. I kind of messed up in the beginning, and I had to stop and just double check and make sure that I didn't make the same screw up on the interior hole as I did for the outer recess. I put in the right size. I just clicked radius instead of diameter, and it multiplied it by 2 and gave me a 1-inch swath, which, you know what, it's not the end of the world. I don't mind. That'll give me a little bit of room to put some CA glue and, you know, kind of have a little fudge area. And I wanted it low enough so that if I were to cut through on another project, it didn't hit the insert. That's all. That's why I went that deep. But at any rate, I think it came out okay. We're going to start cleaning up the holes, and then I'll show you how to put an insert in. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little tip here. I've got 3 CNC machines here in the shop, and I bought the first one a little over 4 years ago now, and it was a Altmill MK1. I waited probably about 4 months for that to come in. It was before they only had the mill 1, and it was brand new, and there was so much talk about it on the internet that, you know, I did so much research. I had it down to 2 CNCs, 2 manufacturers. CNC Labs was under $1,000. I was in the $2,400 range for the entry-level Onefinity. Now, when I started with the MK1, that's all I was really hoping to have. And then it was kind of cool that I was able to assemble 3 CNC machines in my shop. And over those years, including the recent acquisition of the Altmill, I've acquired a lot of spare parts. I have two of these Harbor Freight. I guess they're called Hyperforce or whatever they are. But I keep all the extra screws. I have these anti-backlash nuts in here. I've got spacers. And I have all these threaded nuts. I've even got an extra bearing and a belt for the Z on my MK1. Got plenty of other things, extra wires that, you know, I just decided that if I need extra wheels, I keep all that stuff in a nice handy case, and it works out really well. So whenever I need parts or I want to do something with the CNC as far as maintenance, I know where to go. I've got two of these, and I just, you know, keep that in inventory. I always like to have spare parts, especially the wheels and the eccentric nuts and the wheels mainly, but now that we're using the auto adjust anti-backlash nuts, probably get some spare ones of those too. But anyway, now I've cleaned out all the holes. I'm just going to put a little on the outside, just a little dab, and then we're going to get it started in the hole. You can hear it getting tighter, and that is it. Hit that thing and she'll seize up, and give it another twist and you're good to go. 48 more to go. Well, 47 actually. But anyway, you know, I really hope that when you decided to start watching this video that you're still here to the end, and I really appreciate that. I try really hard to put content out that people want to see, things that I wanted to see when I was starting out, and I know there's a lot of new CNCers out there, and welcome aboard. This is probably one of the coolest things a woodworker could have in his shop right now. I know there's a lot of other tools, and there's a lot of other opinions out there on that, but it's at least one of the coolest things that I've got in my shop. If you are interested in a dust hose mounting bracket, I really want to get those rolling. If you're interested, just leave a comment below. And please, if you don't mind, just click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you like the video, or any of my videos, click the like button whenever you watch them. That really helps us out here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. And be safe out there. You thought I forgot, didn't you?